What is social oppression? What does social oppression mean? Social oppression meaning, social oppression definition, social oppression explanation. Social oppression is the socially supported mistreatment and exploitation of a group of individuals. Social oppression is based on the power dynamics and social position of the individual in society. Social position, as defined by Lynn Weber, is the social place of an individual or group in the hierarchies of race, class, gender, and sexuality, as well as other critical social hierarchies such as age, ethnicity, and nation. An individual's social position determines how one will be perceived by others in society as a whole. It preserves three faces of power: the power to design or manipulate rules, to win the game by force or competition, and the ability to write history. Many political theorists, including Weber, argue that oppression persists because most individuals fail to recognize it. That is, discrimination is often not visible to those who are not in the midst of it. These inequalities are further perpetuated because the oppressed rarely have access to resources that would allow them to escape mistreatment. This can lead to internalized oppression, in which subordinate groups essentially give up the struggle to access equality and accept their fate as a non-dominant group. Social oppression can be inflicted on both macro and micro levels. The macro level focuses on institutionalized oppression and how individuals within the dominant group are able to use their resources so that they continue to remain in power. There are many institutionalized barriers for subjugated groups to overcome for progressive movements. Examples of social oppression at the macro level are the vast differences that occur in educational systems, health policies, and law enforcement. At the micro level, we look at the interpersonal interactions that occur in everyday life. Our perceptions of people shape these conversations as the result of stereotypes and believed social norms. Stereotypical images of African American individuals have persisted throughout U.S. history because of these micro levels of social oppression, such as images of mammy on cleaning products or cooking. From a gender perspective, women have historically been seen as the less dominant of the sexes, and therefore more suited to domesticity. With this in mind, most household product advertisements target women, with more feminine colors on the packaging and humor aimed at a female audience. Delving further into social oppression on both a macro and micro level, we turn to Black feminist Patricia Hill Collins on what she calls the matrix of domination. The matrix of domination discusses the interrelated nature of four domains of power, including the structural, disciplinary, hegemonic, and interpersonal domains. Each of these spheres works to sustain the current inequalities faced by minority groups. The structural, disciplinary, and hegemonic domains all operate at the macro level and address issues of social oppression such as education, the judicial/criminal justice system, and elements of power and control, respectively. Interpersonal dominance is driven by perceptions due to the spheres in the dominance matrix, and thus plays out in everyday life. The interpersonal domain is situated in the perspective of viewpoint theory. Viewpoint theory deals with an individual's social position in that each person will have a very different perspective based on where they are in society. For example, a white male will have a very different approach on an issue such as abortion than a black female. Each will have different knowledge statements and experiences that will have shaped the way they perceive abortion. From the perspective of oppression, standpoint theory proves to be quite relevant. Often certain aspects of society, and the knowledge they possess are kept suppressed because they are seen as inferior viewpoints. This leaves their voices unrecognized and their perspective from mainstream society.